Today I just did 3 sets, push-ups, pull-ups, and then like at the end I did just kind of like a burnout set. So I wasn't really focused on form, you could say. I was just kind of focused more on getting the reps for those last 2 sets or last set of the pull-up and the push-up. So something I was kind of talking to my dad about earlier, or it's something that was mentioned, was kind of like negative people. So you can hang around a bunch of different types of people and you can gain things from them, and you kind of in a way become them, and you absorb who they are, and that kind of becomes a part of your character. So it's very important for us to try and know who are the people we are hanging with, to listen to them, to hear them out, to get to know them, and to just see what overall vibe they kind of bring to whatever situation. And he was describing me a situation where at one of his older jobs when I was very young, there's this guy who's just like negative, always talking about, man, I'm gonna quit this job or this and that, talking smack or whatever. And then my dad would think like, my dad would think, man, do I have problems? Man, oh my gosh, I'm gonna quit this job, blah, blah, blah. The guy would even talk about his wife. He'd be like, man, my wife this, my wife that. And then it's kind of funny how it ends up leaking over. Even if you are the most positive person in the world, it's weird how it leaks over, especially if you're not checking it, especially if you're not being like, hey man, lighten up a little bit, whatever. And I've been through this, like, just think about all the times where like somebody at a job is always like, man, I'm gonna quit this job, or they're always complaining about something at the job. And then you kind of end up becoming grouchy too whenever you end up there. You always kind of end up becoming mad or irritated whenever you're at work, because this person is always mad or irritated when they're at work. And I'd say an even more extreme example that I had when I was younger, I had a friend of mine. We were friends in middle school, and most of our conversations, I guess, after middle school was like Discord, Instagram, direct messages, whatever, text messages. And so I had a really bad thing of staying up late at night. And when I would be staying up late at night, I'd be kind of on these Discord calls with these friends. And I guess he was going through a very, like, a lot of depressive episodes, a depressive state. And like one thing is that like he would talk about like bringing harm to himself, taking himself out. He would always talk about like the troubles he has, like at school, or not at school, well, with his parents and with friendships and stuff like that. And this is someone I knew in the real world. So this is someone I had interaction with. This is someone who I would probably care for more on a more, like, on a regular basis. And I would always be there like every, like, a couple of nights whenever that would happen. Sometimes it would happen multiple nights in a row. He'll go on this kind of like depressive episode, and I'll be there trying to tell him like, hey man, everything's gonna be okay. Just trying to bring a positive vibe. And what happened slowly is like I became a bit more pessimistic. I started to become a bit more like just down a little bit. And it's because I was like hanging around him or like getting on these calls with him like almost every night for like some months or however long that lasted. So it just became harder and harder to try and be like, I guess, motivating, or trying to be like give him a more positive aspect on stuff. It just became so hard because it was like every single day it was like this. It was like every single day it was something negative. It was something just pessimistic. It was something down. It was something depressive every single day. So it's like that's gonna wear you out, especially when you're a person who you feel like you're a bit more inclined to just positivity, positive thoughts, stuff like that. It's gonna be hard when you're always trying to bring up somebody who's always negative. It's crazy. I hope he's doing well now. I haven't really talked to him much since. I know he's still alive because we follow each other on socials. But it's just like, it was just crazy. So at some point we ended up drifting off, but it's just interesting how like just I noticed like, oh man, I'm like, I'm so sad, I'm so this, I'm so that. And then you kind of end up spreading that to other people, or you kind of begin to take on this false perception of the world of being like this horrible place, when like in reality, we have the ability to control a lot of stuff in our own lives. So when you control those things that can actually have impact on your success and on your happiness, which is a lot of aspects of life, then you're gonna be fine. The only thing that's gonna get in the way in that is like your own mindset. Your own mind is everything, to be honest. Just think about when you are sad, when you are depressed, when you have a lot of anxiety. Just think about how much physical pain hurts a lot more, or just think about how much, like, even when you get sick, like, think about how much each pain or body ache hurts just that much more when you're sad or when you're down or when you're depressed, stuff like that. And then you end up spreading that type of energy to other people, and then other people are gonna get sad and depressed. So it's like you do also don't want to be that person that's always talking smack, always being negative, always. Every time you open your mouth, it's like just something that's going to either add negativity to the world or add nothing to the world. That's gonna spread to other people. Whether you got it from someone else and now that's on you, or whether I mean, most of the time you have to have gotten it from someone or somewhere else, whether that be like your family and stuff like that. And another thing too is like you'll realize like with the people you hang around can really affect your emotions, or at least affect how you might perceive the world, without you realizing. And then when you pull back away from that, you realize like, hold on, I actually don't have anything in my life currently to make me be so pessimistic, to make me be so depressive, to make me be so sad, because I have a loving family. I don't have any house problems. I'm doing pretty. I was at the time, when I was like middle school, high school, doing pretty well in school. So I had no reason to be as sad as him. I had no reason to be as depressed as him. So it's like, but I'm also not like trying to look down on him or anything like that, because he was a friend of mine and he was going through problems, and I just wanted to help him as best as I can. But at the end of at the end of the day, it's like, you can't help somebody unless they actually want to be helped. So it's like I might have been giving him a helping hand, but it might have not been received incredibly well, at least not at the time. But we were very young at the time, so it's like, why would we want to listen to anything at all? So yeah, again, choose the people you're around with, because that's something you have control over. If you have control over your own thoughts, and you have control over the people you are with, because they can definitely have an impact on you. You're supposed to be like a representation of the close, I think, what, the close 10 or the closest 5 people to you. So it's like you want to make sure those people are like some of the best people, whether they're family members, whether they're friends, colleagues, teachers, students, whatever the case may be. You want to try, you're not going to try, you are instinctively kind of going to emulate people that are around you. So you want to be able to have positive influences around you, so therefore you can have a positive impact on others, and then you can kind of start that whole cycle of like just positivity. Because if you're around more and more negative people, even your own family, right? Your own family, your own mother, your own sister, father, grandmother, right? Some of these people can be so negative, and once you get away from that, you'll notice like your mental health change. You'll notice your mental health skyrocket. I had this friend, she had to take pills actually for like for her depressive state and whatnot. And when she moved away from her grandmother's place, she was saying like her mental health improved drastically. And now I'd say she's living life like pretty well, I would say. And it's just like, again, it's like sometimes like if we want best in our life, we're going to have to lose some friends or even lose some family members because of that. Like I think family is very important, but some family members just aren't that well in the head, right? Either they have some unresolved traumas, things like that, and they're spreading that to their children or to other people around them, and then that's gonna get spread to their children. But you have to be the one to kind of break that cycle. So if it takes you having to step away from that family member or cut off contact with that family member, then do what you might feel is best. If you can't heal things, if you can't bring things back to a better state, if you can't make things better with this family member, then it might be best just to limit contact with them, just to not do things. Because it's like there's a lot of people out here that is like, oh, well, I try to make things better with my dad, but every time he'd always bring up blah, 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 blah. Like, you know, some people are just that stubborn and they won't learn. So it's like, there's no point in keeping some of these people in our close circles because they're just going to poison it, right? Because it's like what? The bad apple, like, spoils the bunch or whatever the case may be. So in negativity, spreads so much faster than positivity because a lot of negativity is defeatist mindsets. When you are in a negative state or mode, a lot of the things you do in life are going to be very easy, very low effort, very, very comfortable. But to be positive, it takes effort because it takes more energy to try and live a better life. It takes more energy to try and go out of your way and to do things that are better for you. That takes energy than to just sit there and just complain about everything. Like complaining about everything is so easy. I can just point out like, bro, look at my iPad, bro. It doesn't even like I can't even use it for my school for proper stuff, bro. Like, oh my gosh, like I could sit here and complain about that all day, but I'm not. I'm here making videos every day, talking to you guys, trying to uplift people and stuff like that, or at least do whatever I can to the best of my ability. And so you have to be able to kind of carry that mindset with you, no matter what the situation is, because you don't want to be one of those negative people that just complain all the time. Like we can have our own complaints here and there, but don't make that be the main thing that comes out of your mouth. You know, don't always be so critical or so pessimistic about everything because that can just ruin the mood sometimes. You know, it can really just bring things down sometimes, even if you're just joking. But that's all I'm really gonna say. Yeah, see you guys in the next video.